I'll make sure I yell as loudly as possible. Hopefully, you can all hear there. Good afternoon, builders, and happy to have you all here. Are you all excited to see the demo? How many of you know about Work IQ? All right. Foundry IQ. All right. And how many of you know about Agent 365? All right. So do we need the session then? Everyone seems to know it. All right. Cool. So I am Sri, by the way. I'm a group product manager on Agent 365. My job is to help you build agents and at the same time help IT admins to govern these agents. So when you're in enterprise, the biggest problem for adoption of AI is I don't know what AI is doing in my system. I rather know it, I govern it, and then I will shut it down if I don't like it, right? That's the job of IT admins. Of course, they are not always rude. They want to sometimes help the developers and make sure they do the right thing for the enterprise, right? So let's get started quickly here. So today we are going to see Foundry IQ, Work IQ. I'll quickly give a crash course on it so that you guys can catch up. And then we'll build an agent, try to add some evals, publish the agent, and then I'll see a little bit about observability, governance, and security, and then also a surprise topic at the end if time permits, OK? All right, context is the key to an effective agent. How many times have you heard this in last 2 days? Right, quite a few times. Every product that you build, every agent that you build, it needs context. The shopper agent needs to find products. The interior design needs to find the design images. Inventory needs to find where is the inventory, how many supplies I've got. Basically, context is the king. And where does all the context live? The context actually lives in your work organization. They are locked up in SQL databases. They're locked up in your SAP systems. They're locked up in your emails, meeting chats, and everything, right? So agents do well only if they are given the right instructions, they are given the right tools, and most importantly, the context, which is in the form of IQ, right? Tell me the last time you all built an agent where context was missing and you struggled to give it the context, where you end up teaching it so much that you feel I would have been more productive doing it manually, right? And that's where the power of Work IQ comes into play. Your email, your Teams chat, your SharePoint documents, everything coming together as Work IQ, feeding the agent with enough knowledge, making sure you don't spend enough tokens sending back and forth all the prompts that you keep giving it all the time. So what is context actually? It consists of 3 things. Data. What is Work IQ, by the way? Data, context, and skills and tools. And today, we are going to just focus on the Work IQ MCP. But behind the Work IQ API, there are a bunch of things that also we'll try to cover here. So when is it all going to be available? Work IQ is going to be generally available mid of June. So in next 2 weeks, you should all be able to play with it very soon and see how you get an agent that is optimized for use, secure, and comprehensive, which means you will only get access to the SharePoint documents that you should be getting access to. You will only see emails that you're only supposed to be seeing. And this is basically true for the agents using the agent identity as well. So when I said we are going to see only the Work IQ MCP, there are other protocols that are also being exposed, A2A and REST APIs as well, which means you can use the agent to chat, get context, invoke tools, and it will also have a secure workspace where your agent can store your homework, right? It's kind of a scratch pad that the agents would need to safely keep its work so that it's not getting exposed. And at the same time, as soon as the agent's runtime is done, the workspace can clear up and make sure that none of the data is stored forever. All right. Before I jump to Foundry IQ, I'll just quickly try to show you where you can build these agents using Work IQ. You can build it in Copilot Studio. You can build declarative agents. You can also build Foundry agents. But because we are all here to look at the Foundry side of the story, I'll show you a Foundry agent. So let me switch to the demo now. OK. Once it loads up, Meanwhile, how many of you have built agents already in Foundry? How many of you are familiar with it? Quite a few. Let's get started here. So this UI must be familiar for you. I'll just quickly start building an agent. It's pretty simple. All right. Let's build the super agent. Agent 007. Favorite, right? OK. What do you typically do after this? Any guesses? You give instructions, right? And then you start giving it the tools. So for the sake of demo, I'll just say, you know it all, because you're 007, right? I'll remove the unwanted tools here. And this is where you will see Work IQ light up. In your catalog, all you have to do is Work IQ. There you go. It's already there for you. You just add it, as simple as that. You can see the Work IQ endpoint being exposed. All the connection credentials, enter ID, everything is taken care for you automatically. All you're doing is just you added Work IQ to the agent. You are given it all the context of your emails, SharePoint, Teams, everything in that one click. How powerful would it be, right? OK. And now let's just save it. And let me ask, what was the last email from David? While that is loading, let me go back to my presentation to explain the next step, which is adding Foundry IQ. What is Foundry IQ, right? Of course, you can see Work IQ MCP tool got invoked. Human in the loop is asking me, should I approve it or not? I will approve all the tools for now for the sake of demo so that it doesn't keep popping every time. OK? Let's go back here. Foundry IQ. There you go. So what is Foundry IQ? So if you look at it, it's the reusable knowledge databases that you already have created. Think of this as your blob containers containing blobs, your RFPs, your RFQs, your sales orders, your invoices, everything that you might have moved to blobs, start becoming the Foundry IQ knowledge source. Now think of this as Azure AI Search automatically converts that blobs into vector indexes. And these vector indexes are available to the agent so that they can understand it, and then give you a much more rich semantic knowledge that is available to you through Foundry IQ. And that is the power of it. So it is indexed already by Foundry. You don't have to do anything. As agentic RAG is enabled for you automatically thanks to Azure AI Search under the hood. And then, of course, enterprise grade, which you will already see the security that is already there, which means it will honor all the permissions that you have enabled on the storage containers while building those storage. So let's quickly switch over to the demo now to show you. So while I'm here, while this is still loading, I can quickly show you the add Foundry IQ. So when you're creating a Foundry IQ, it will come up like this, where you have a connection to your Azure AI Search index. And I already created some knowledge bases for you. Just to show you quickly, if I switch to the service, search service, this. Oh. Every time I have to come out of the presentation mode. All right. So I'll just show again in case you missed. Connect to Foundry IQ here. And here is where the Azure AI Search will load for you. And then here is where you will see the knowledge bases if you created them earlier. For the sake of this demo, I'll just quickly show you. If here is where your search service is, here is my storage container. In the storage container, all I have done is, let me go back quickly to show you. All I did was I created a container through add container and dumped a bunch of files there, which is my pricing guide, battle cards, product specifications. And in there, it automatically created the index. And if I were to come back to my demo here, if you don't like this, basically just connect to this. Your knowledge source is connected. And pretty much there you go. Your agent is ready now with Work IQ and the KB files. I don't know what this agent is still doing, but let me just save this. And pretty much your agent is now enriched with Work IQ and Knowledge IQ from the Foundry IQ. So that's pretty much as simple as bringing all the enterprise knowledge to your agent. Let me try a new chat. Sometimes even agent 007 gets confused, you know. I don't know why, but let's see. So this one, you already saw this demo. It picks up the Work IQ tools, invoke the particular tool that was needed, which is in the ask mode, and give you the answer. Similarly, the next question that I'm going to ask is what is the guidance on the discounts for these products, which, as you saw, it was coming from the storage container where I had all the pricing specs and everything going there. Since this is taking time, I knew this would happen, so I already asked these questions on the same agent in 0603. This is my agent where I asked the same question. What is the guidance? You can see the citation. It comes from answer synthesis, which is basically from the Foundry IQ for you, right? And finally, if I ask you to kind of go back and reply the agent, because David was asking me about the order, I can use the Work IQ tool to also go back and answer to this one. All right. You think I am a good dev? I did my job? Did I use all my IQ? My IQ? No. Is the agent ready to be published? What is missing? Can you yell out? You need to test it, right? Where are the evals? So that's where we come to the evals part of the story. So the good thing with Foundry is you can create evals right there and execute some of the runs. So I have some evals in progress, but I'll quickly show you how to go and create this. It's pretty interesting. You can actually go and say which agent you want to run the evals on. Let's just pick the agent 007. Do you want to do a single turn or multi-turn, which is basically a complex human-like interaction with the agent that it will be simulating. Let me simulate some data. Or you could use existing conversations. See, if the agent has been tested enough with humans, you will have existing conversations that can be used as eval data, or you could simulate a new one. In here, you can actually say there is a sample that you can download and then upload the data set. I already did this so that we can save some time here. This is my simulation data. And I say 007 data and upload it. And once it uploads it, you will see that the structure of the data, it will show you what are the prompts, what is the description of the test case, what is the expected output, the desired number of turns. And this is just the sample data, so that not a fancy JSON or CSV. Basically, a human can handwrite it, write it with hand, and actually just upload it. And then once this looks good, I'm going to confirm it, move to the next step, which is which agent. Obviously, it's already configured. Let's move to the next one. This is going to be interesting. What are the evaluators it's running? Task completion, task adherence, customer satisfaction, and then groundedness and coherence. Right? Groundedness is important because if you're giving Work IQ and Knowledge IQ, Foundry IQ, you really need to make sure the agent's responses are grounded in the knowledge and it is not hallucinating, because the biggest problem with models, internet knowledge, is abundance. And there is biasness to answer all the time, whether it finds the right answer or not. So groundedness is going to be something that you want to test it with. The next is basically, OK, I'll just give a fancy name to this one. And you can see the complete picture. The agent is going to run with full scope conversations. It's going to evaluate for task completion, groundedness, task adherence, and CSAT. All right. Once this is done, in the interest of time, again, I'll just quickly switch to show you something. This is how it's going to look. It will take some time because it's going to run some of these prompts, all the combinations for you. And I did complete some of these evals earlier, so let's see what you get here. So when you run these ones, it will give you this kind of scores. Hopefully, it's big enough for you to see. Out of 100, it will start giving you grades, right? 88%, 94%. Tool selection, was the right tool selected for the job? Tool output utilization, was the output optimum to what you expected it to output, right? The accuracy, success evaluator, and all. Of course, now it tells you that I am a cool developer, right? My agent's working 100%. Ready for me to publish, right? Where am I publishing this to? I'm publishing this to the company store. Think of it as a central repository where all organization employees can start using it. So that's what I'm going to do here. So for the sake of quick demo, I'll just say only if it allows me to type. Here you can see it automatically created the bot service for you. You are not going to Azure bot service and creating a bot, giving it permissions and all that. So Foundry makes it so easy for you to build an agent, publish it all within like 10, 15 minutes here, right? Of course, that's me. And I'm going to publish this. What this does is it publishes to Teams and M365 Copilot channels. At the same time, it also publishes to the agent registry, which is the Agent 365 registry, which you will see it in a minute. OK, the job is done. All right? It's saying go back to the admin center to approve it. So it's time now to switch to the PowerPoint to talk about what will you see in the admin center. And this is where I wanted to show you the Agent 365 view, right? So technically speaking, I should have been wearing the IT admin hat. Imagine I'm the IT admin now. I switched roles from Sri to be the Sri IT admin. I come here and see, OK, this is my Agent 365 view. This is all the AI artifacts deployed in my tenant. I want to make sure what is out there. I can see the scorecard. I can see agents at risk. I can see active users, and so much information. But let's not lose focus. Why were we here? We were here to looking for that particular agent, right? Let's see if that guy showed up here. Oh, there you go. That agent is here. Now, IT admin Sri does not know what this is, right? So I get all the information as IT admin to see what is this particular thing, when was it published, right? I can look at what are the security permissions that it has. Look at what is out here. Any guesses what is this? Agent ID. It automatically created the bot service. It also assigned an agent ID. Agent ID, how many of you know agent ID? What are the two most important components of agent ID? It has a unique principle that it identifies agent regardless of where it is deployed, where it is running in your tenant. The second one, it has very much like principles and identity permissions, very much like a human user would have. So you can control the scope. You can give it permissions just like you would give to a human user. OK? So all this is taken care for you as part of the Agent 365. And then let's say you feel, OK, this is good. Let's go back and look at what are the other things that you would do here. So this is also the time to also switch to the PowerPoint to tell you a little bit more about the Agent 365 story, right? Let me switch to the PowerPoint quickly. Why do you need Agent 365? Right? This is the problem. There is a 52-point governance gap when how many agents are running in production versus how many are mature enough to be capable of running or deserving of running in enterprise, right? Because these agents are doing things that you should not be doing, but you don't know as IT admins. So there is a big problem that Agent 365 is helping you solve here. And that is basically, it helps you observe these agents, govern these agents, and eventually secure them. And that is the promise of Agent 365. The most important slide for today that you should all probably take home. What do you get with Agent 365, right? Agent identity, agent observability, agent interoperability, which means the Work IQ you saw that helps you, all your agents to interact with your SharePoint, Teams. All this information is basically what we enable. And with Agent 365, you get an SDK, which means if you build an agent in LangChain, you build an agent in AWS Bedrock, you could still use our SDK to instrument it enough that it will give you the same observability, security, and governance story, right? That is basically the power of Agent 365. We are not forcing you on the Microsoft stack to build your agents again. You just use your SDK, instrument it, and you're good to go. Agent 365 helps you, it brings the power of all these 4 products as well under the hood. It brings the sandbox thanks to Intune, How many of you remember the MXC from Keynote that Satya did? Microsoft Execution Container. That's thanks to Intune. And you will see that it's done by Agent 365 through a policy that gets pushed out, and Intune helps it to make sure all your devices are now sandbox enabled. So your GitHub Copilot, CLI, Cloud Code, OpenClaw can all run in a sandbox environment. Purview labels, obviously, you tag some data as highly sensitive. You make sure the agents also honor that labels that you have assigned to it. Blocks exfiltration, very important. The biggest problems with agents is you can maneuver it or influence it, very much like a teenager or even a small kid, to do things that it's not supposed to do. Prompt injection, the biggest problem that AI is facing today, right? Defender comes into play here. So with Agent 365 SDK, if you use them, we will make sure it passes through a tooling gateway that has deep integration with Defender, and it protects your from exfiltration of the data through ASCII smuggling or real-time protection for prompt injection. It blocks your agent from visiting harmful sites, and also from sending and replying to emails that are suspicious, like phishing attacks and others. So that's basically the power of Defender in real time as well. So what is actually saying is the agent doesn't decide, your model doesn't decide what agents do. When you're running an enterprise, you really want your enterprise policies to define what the agent behaves or how the agent behaves, right? And that is basically the big differentiator we have. So now let's switch over to the demo to show you some more capabilities of Agent 365 before we wind up quickly. So we were seeing that the agent that was submitted for request came up here. Let's look at what else do we have here in the map. So I'll just take out the filter. And you will see there's a rich view of all the agents, all the different platforms, including Google. Uh-oh. Thank you. Can we show the demo? OK, cool. So this is the agent registry that we were talking about. All the agents in your tenant, you can see different platforms, Copilot, Foundry, everything. What's interesting is we also support external agents that you can bring through different platforms that are like Amazon, Google, Databricks, Agentforce. You can just sync them and bring them into your registry. What's even interesting is we have a map view that shows you the different platforms, how they are interacting. You already saw the request, which is basically where every time a new agent is published, your admins want to approve it, you can come here and look at it. This is the most coolest thing I wanted to show you, which you must have also listened to when Satya was doing the keynote yesterday. GitHub Copilot, all the local agents, we start detecting that as part of the registry as well with Agent 365. Look at GitHub Copilot. We tell you that these are the devices where GitHub Copilot is running. And the most coolest one, you can deploy the policy to isolate the agent, which means you can force it to run in a container, which is the MXC container we talked about. It also has deeper controls where you can control which folder paths are accessible to it. Let's just quickly move to the security side of the story. We also help you detect other claws that are running, shadow agents, which are also through Intune and GSA technology that we are detecting these traffic. And then, of course, Microsoft Defender helps us to detect all these endpoints that are running local agents. Moving to tool governance, most important thing also to show, you don't want to just control the agents. There is these MCPs, the plugins, the connectors, all these things that are exposing data through these different API connections. Once you lock them down or you control them, then you don't have to worry so much about the agent side of the story. So we also give you tool governance as part of Agent 365. Remember the Work IQ MCP that you were looking at? That's going to show up here as well in a second, Work IQ MCP. So if I am IT admin, I can come and see any agent that's ever built in my company using Work IQ. I know what tools they're going to use, and I can set Rego policies to make sure they honor these particular things. And if I block it here, no agents can ever be built using Work IQ. Now, this is just the other side of extreme governance, but I'm just giving you an example that customers have this option here, right? And finally, before I close, I wanted to show you there is also support for you to bring your own MCP server. Once you bring using our SDK, you can publish these MCP servers, and they will come here, and IT admin can approve or reject your own MCP servers as well. Right? With that, I want to quickly switch to the last few slides. Yeah? OK. I'll just quickly. All right. So you build your agents with Foundry, and you govern with Agent 365, right? So finally, the key takeaway, start building with with Microsoft Foundry, and then you will be able to govern your agents with Agent 365. That's pretty much what I had. Thank you, guys.